Let me ask you something that most people are too afraid to answer honestly. The last time you did something kind for someone, paid for a stranger's coffee, volunteered, donated to charity, showed up for a friend, why did you really do it? Because here's what social psychology has discovered. After decades of studying human behavior, most of what we call altruism isn't. A 2021 study published in the journal Psychological Science found that the vast majority of pro-social behaviors, acts that appear selfless on the surface, are driven by deeply personal, unconscious motivations. Status, guilt, belonging, even boredom. And here's the part that'll make you uncomfortable. The people most convinced they're doing good are often the ones doing the least. Stay with me, because today we're going into social psychology territory most people never explore. And by the end of this video, you're going to see yourself and the people around you in a completely different light. Social psychology is the scientific study of how people think, feel, and behave in social situations. And its original purpose, going all the way back to the mid-20th century, was simple: facilitate positive social change. But here's a question the textbooks rarely ask. Who decides what positive change actually looks like? Think about charities. When someone says that word, most of us immediately feel good about it. But consider this. There are organizations right now in countries around the world where charity directors pay themselves six-figure salaries, while the people they claim to serve see almost nothing. One children's charity received millions in lottery funding. To justify the next round of grants, they needed proof they'd made an impact. So they commissioned a training program for at-risk youth, young people who were given a simple choice: attend the sessions or go to a juvenile detention center. Of course they attended, but their minds were never there. No real change happened. The charity ticked the box, got the next round of funding, and the cycle continued. Here's an idea that might hit a little closer to home. Think about the family you grew up in. The habits, the routines, the attitudes toward money, toward people who were different, toward what a successful life even looks like. Did you choose any of that? Or was it just absorbed? Social psychologists call this evolutionary adoption, not in the Darwin sense, but generational. Parents unconsciously pass down their worldview to their children through everyday interactions, not through lectures, through living. One researcher grew up in a household where 7:30 p.m. meant TV, junk food, feet up, no discussion. That was just normal. His parents were overweight, and for years after leaving a structured environment, you guessed it, so was he. Not because of weak willpower, but because normal is whatever you've been shown is normal. And then there's the flip side. A woman who grew up in a genuinely abusive household, emotionally, verbally, sometimes physically, who, when asked why she wasn't emotionally destroyed by it, simply said, "It was just normal. And all I learned was how I never wanted to treat anyone else." Same kind of wound, completely different outcome. Which raises the most important question social psychology asks. What makes one person blindly absorb the culture they were raised in, while another instinctively rebels against it? We'll come back to that. But first, here's where it gets really interesting. The Western world has spent the last century celebrating individualism, independence, self-reliance, the idea that the highest achievement is to need no one. And the result? We are the loneliest generation in human history. According to a 2023 report from the U.S. Surgeon General, loneliness now carries the same health risk as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Nearly half of all adults report measurable feelings of social isolation. Let that sink in. Now contrast that with what social psychology calls a collectivist culture, where shared purpose, interdependence, and community aren't just nice ideas. Their survival. In small island communities in Southeast Asia, boys become men at 13, not through some formal ceremony, but through contribution, through learning to hunt, build, fish, and sustain the people around them. No one asks, "What's in it for me?" because the question doesn't even make sense. The community is the individual. Meanwhile, in the West, we build startups alone. We grind alone. We scroll alone. And we wonder why we feel empty. Individualism promises freedom, but it quietly delivers isolation. The question that changes everything. So here's where social psychology lands, and where it should land, for you. You didn't choose most of your beliefs. Your biases, your prejudices, your definition of good, most of it was handed to you before you were old enough to question it. But you can choose what happens next. The goal isn't to feel shame about that. The goal is awareness. Because the moment you can see where an idea came from, whether it's serving you or just protecting a version of yourself you inherited, that's the moment you actually get to decide. So ask yourself honestly, is the way I'm showing up in the world, the real way, not the Instagram way, something I consciously chose? Or is it just what was handed to me? Because the answer to that question might just be the most important piece of self-knowledge you ever find. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next briefing.